Welcome to Manifest Anything You Can Imagine podcast, the podcast that empowers you to turn your dreams into reality using the law of attraction. I'm your host, Papi Denuzo, and together we'll dive into the mindset, strategies, and energy shifts you need to create the life you've always envisioned. Whether it's health, wealth, happiness, love, relationships, or spirituality, inspired by my transformative book, Manifest Anything You Can Imagine, each episode brings you practical tools, inspiring stories, and bold insights to unlock your limitless potential. Get ready to manifest your greatness, and let's dive in.
Give a fish, teach to fish, delivering hope. A paying it forward, self-improvement, and personal development charitable community outreach initiative, founded, supported, and funded by Denuzo Private Wealth, Inc. Those words, delivering hope, every time I say them, it reminds me just how important they are. And basically, hope is what motivates us to keep moving forward and reminds us there are better days ahead and that we can make positive changes in our life. And I love that. And I just want to thank all of you for joining us today. And speaking of inspiration, if you're looking for an inspirational speaker, please book Papi to speak to your organization or book him to speak for free to your nonprofit group that would love to hear his message of hope, inspiration, abundance, and peace of mind. So let's now go over to Papi to set the table for us. Good morning, Papi. How are you today?
Hey, Mikey, good morning. I'm so happy, grateful now. Today is a magnificent day, and that you and I and all of our listeners have painted their masterpiece already first thing in the morning. So thank you so much. I also want to greet you, Mikey, and all of our listeners with just reminding all of us that the spirit in me greets the spirit in you, yourself, Mikey, and all of our listeners. There's no higher greeting that we can offer to each other than the spirit in us greeting the spirit in someone else. And you really, as we talk, Mikey, when you wake up in the morning, everyone wants to have a successful day, Mikey. And where does that successful day start at? That successful day starts at first thing in the morning, right when you're first waking up in the morning. So you'll see in my book, Win Your Morning, Win Your Day. Very, very important to start off properly. So start off before you even get out of bed in the morning. I'm so happy and grateful now that today is a magnificent day. Again, I remind us all the time that all of our listeners, all of us are eternal spiritual beings in a 3D body. You are eternal. You are endless. You never die. Your spirit has been here forever and will be here forever. That's very happy news that we're not ever going to be deceased and disappear or anything like that at all. On the book, Mikey, I've got a lot of good feedback. And the audio book on Audible came out a little while ago, and I'm trying to get it on some other platforms as well. But I've said in the book, and I repeat all the time, at least read one page every day. But I've been having a lot of our fellow brothers and sisters give me great feedback on them listening to the book. So even listening to it in the background while you're working, especially right before you fall asleep at night, and even listening to it for a while in your subconscious mind whenever you are sleeping, getting very, very good feedback on that. And I would say if you could listen to it in the background, not even actively listening, but if you listen for even an hour a day without actively listening, just in the background, that's going into your subconscious mind, all of these positive thoughts all the way across. Some good things have come up, Mikey, since our last webinar workshop, since our last show. I have an opportunity coming together in the Philippines with a woman who's a senator there, and we're getting very close to a number of presentations for me to offer to our fellow brothers and sisters in need. There was an article published in Forbes magazine in the business section and in USA Today in their business section as well regarding the power of positive thinking, where they interviewed me, and those are two very nice articles. And I'm getting ready to present to the Freehold Primary School in Nakuru, Kenya next week to up to 120 students. And I'm very excited about giving our fellow brothers and sisters, Mikey, on our workshop webinar on our show here, feedback from that. So one of the other items I wanted to mention, Mikey, because people say, Papi, manifesting, we have the ability to manifest. Like attracts like. That's the power. That's the law of attraction. We have the ability to manifest anything in our life. So I say we wake up in the morning, feel your way into your day and start off. And I had a blood test recently. And on my blood test, Mikey, I had one number. Now, my doctor's very thorough test. I think it was like 5 or 6 pages with maybe 30 lines per page of everything that he wants to check. And I get this done 3, maybe 4 times a year. But there had been one item in my blood that was higher than I would like it to be and higher than he would like it to be. And I never really focused on it over all these years. And I said, you know what? For my next blood test with Dr. Joe, I'm going to really focus on this one item, and I'm going to feel my way into it. And I'm going to visualize and feel my way into it. To how do I want to feel after I've done my blood test review with Dr. Joe on this one specific item? And this item, Mikey, without getting too much details, was usually my score was usually like between 200 and 300 to 350. And the ideal is between 100 and 200. So it was on the high side, and it'd been something something I really wanted to focus on over time. So I did. So regarding manifesting Mikey, I started feeling my way into it. I started assuming my wish fulfilled. So that's one of the most powerful things we can do with the universe, Mikey, is think of what it is we want to accomplish at the end of today, when you're starting off in the morning, at the end of this week, at the end of this month, whatever it is, and put that feeling inside of you, that success, how you want to feel after that event, a meeting, a virtual meeting, an email, a phone call, something with a family, friend, love, a member someone you love, a relationship. How do you want to feel after that interaction? And I worked on that for that blood test. And long story short, Mikey, it was the first time whenever I did the blood test that it came back, and I was right around like 150, almost at the midpoint between that 100 and 200 number. So I just use it as an example because, and you're never going to prove this to anyone. What I tell our fellow brothers and sisters, Mikey, is to follow me and trust me until you find one of two things not to be true. Either I'm lying or I don't know what I'm talking about. And I tell you, you will not find either of those ever to occur. They're not going to come to fruition. They'll never be true. So just follow me. There is a degree of faith involved, but you have to believe in something, and you have a fork in the road. Your mind can only be in a faith mindset or a fear mindset. And 90, 95, 99% of the time, Mikey, there are no facts to either be in one mindset or the other. So why would we ever want to choose to be in a mindset of fear instead of a mindset of faith? Let's be in a mindset of faith. And I'm giving you as many examples and reasons and things to give you confidence and raise your self-esteem and your self-confidence that I possibly can. Another one, Mikey, I'll share is, and this one happened a little bit back and I forgot to mention it, but I took a team member to a Cleveland Cavaliers basketball game. It was when they were in the NBA playoffs. And I went to the basketball game. Long story short, it was a great experience and everything else. And they handed out free little wristbands and free T-shirts and something else. I can't remember what it was. And I already had more like a dress shirt on. And the shirt would not have fit me to put this T-shirt over top. So I was sitting on my chair. And I remember getting ready to leave the arena, Mikey, and the T-shirt was still there on my armrest. And I said, now, should I take this T-shirt or not? And I said, what am I going to do with it? The size wasn't right. I'm a bigger guy. The size wasn't right. And I said, I'm never going to wear this T-shirt. Why should I take it? But something in my mind said, and you listen as we talk, Mikey, about our subconscious mind, listen to your intuition. So women will call it women's intuition. Men will say, following my gut. And my intuition just popped it up there and just says, take it, Pappy. Just take it. So I took it, go out to the parking lot. We're trying to get out. And you can imagine if you go to any event, and the arena was completely sold out. It was a huge crowd, sold out in the parking lot right across the street from the arena. There's this real nice, very nice young gentleman, had to be in his teens. To me, it didn't even look like he was old enough to be on someone's payroll, so to speak, but he was managing the whole parking lot with maybe 500 cars. You know, some people get like a little overly aggressive when they're trying to leave. You're not going to get anywhere, buddy. You know, they're trying to cut people off. And this one guy sort of cut a bunch of people off and jammed it up. He had somebody stop and got them out of the way so I could back my car up and get out of this entanglement. And then whenever we're going out, I gave him a tip. I gave him a $20 tip, and I thanked him so much. I said, I really appreciate what you're doing. I really appreciate you. And that meant a lot to him. I like doing it. I like giving gratuities to people that never receive them, and letting them know how special they are is the most important part. And then after I did that, he said, he said, you know what? I was sitting out here all day. I wanted to go to this basketball game so bad. He said, but I really wanted to do, he said, I knew they were giving out T-shirts today. He said, and I just wish and wish and wish I had a T-shirt. That's all I want. I was sitting there all day just thinking, man, do I just really wish I'd one of those T-shirts and I could go back to my neighborhood with a T-shirt. And I said, young man, just manifested yourself a T-shirt. I reached in my back seat, got my T-shirt and handed it to him. He manifested that, Mikey. He was thinking about that. He was visualizing that. He was applying emotion. And what do we talk about all the time, Mikey? Where's your vibration? Where's your frequency? And it's just like my cell phone. You put it up here, whatever happened with me with the universe, hey, take that T-shirt with you. He's up here. He wants a T-shirt. We meet in the parking lot and he's got a T-shirt. That's a, not to say oversimplified version, but that's how it works. You attract what you feel. If you think, if you're thinking good thoughts, you're going to attract good. If you're thinking bad thoughts, you're going to attract bad. But that young man actually manifested that t-shirt on himself from his visualization and his emotions. And the last thing I would say, Mikey, we can remind ourselves of this one all the time before we get started. And the universe refers to it as our inner child. We are in our purest sense. When you look at youngsters, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe up to 7 years old, they're sort of as pure as the driven snow. You watch how they play, watch how they use their imagination. The universe wants us to use our imagination like that of our inner child. That's where all the magic happens. Once we start to come more in contact with earth and world and people around us, a lot of us start to get jaded. You have bad experiences and things happen and your feelings get hurt and your emotions, and you become cynical, you become doubtful. You're in fear sometimes, you're in doubt other times, you're in anger, all these emotions, which are not going to help you manifest your best life. So I remind us, when you think like a child, magical things can happen. So that's really what it's about. If we think about it, Mikey, how powerful meditation is. When we meditate, what are we doing? Our goal is to clear all the negative out of our system, to clear all of our negative out. And when we clear the negativity out and we clear our mind, what do we do? That's very, very important. But what are we doing at the same time? We're opening ourselves up. And what can happen, Mikey, when we open ourselves up? That's when the goodness can come in. So we get some of the bad stuff out, so to speak. That opens us up and that makes more room for goodness coming into us. But I just want to give you some real life examples, some things that happened here the last couple of weeks to share with our audience.
Well, that's exciting, and those are two really magical stories. I mean, with your health, that's fabulous, and then with that, the person that I love that you treat everybody like they're the most special person on earth. Like, this is a guy in a parking lot just doing his job, and you went and, you gave him a gratuity, you told him that you appreciated him, and that does go a long way because a lot of people don't get that in their everyday life. And I also wanna, congratulate you on your articles. I had the chance to read both of them, and I loved how the USA Today article kind of takes your concepts to live by and shows you how you can use them in your personal life, and then the Forbes article kind of took it in your professional life and talked about how you can use these concepts, this manifestation, this positivity in your business life. And not only that, but you're taking it, your message is going global. I mean, you talked about going to Kenya, and now you have this opportunity in the Philippines. And that just goes to show you that these concepts to live by that you have can be used locally, globally, internationally, professionally, personally. I mean, I love that you're spreading that message of positivity. And speaking of spreading messages of positivity, what I love too is that we send a weekly email with two concepts to live by to everyone on our mailing list. And we talked about repetition being the key to success. If you have these emails coming into you, if you don't have the time to listen to them as soon as we get them, I like to put mine in a folder. Go back, PJ's, manifest anything you can imagine folder, go back to that folder, play those concepts to live by whenever I have the time to do so. And I know that you today, with so much negativity around us, it's just important to have these messages there at your fingertips, basically. So you want to go ahead and tell us what about your concepts to live by that you have in mind today?
Yeah, Mikey, as always, you bring up a lot of good points, and I love sort of piggybacking onto your points. When you were talking about, Mikey, about treating our fellow brothers and sisters, for anyone who's read my book, or whenever you do read my book or listen to it on Audible, it's one of my first manifestations I try to start off with every day. And again, if you try to do these things, even if you did it like once a week, but maybe every other day, but just taking like affirmations to live by that I have in the back of my book. I am so happy and grateful now that I treat every person that I meet as if they're the most important person on earth. That's one of my main affirmations, Mikey, and it just puts you in such a good vibration. We all want to deliver our impression of increase to our fellow brothers and sisters. That places us on a high vibration. If we deliver our impression of increase to our fellow brothers and sisters, then they are going to start to view us, they will view us rather as an advancing person, advancing personality. Hey, that's someone I want to be around. That's someone I want to do business with. That's someone maybe if the chemistry is right, I could fall in love with, like partners, whatever else it is. So the point about this is, Mikey, that you can't turn on and off life. A lot about what we're talking about is we talk about our subconscious mind. I use that example. It's like the bowl, the bottom half of that real large top circle, the bottom half, the subconscious mind. And I talk about going with one hand taking out bad habits. We're trying to do this every day, take out bad habits. And with the other hand, we want to put in good habits. And that's what this is. So think, Mikey, what do most people do? Most people do want to impress their fellow brothers and sisters and get along and be successful and have them attracted to them, etc. But it's not like a light switch, Mikey. So you want to make this a good habit. So we're thinking that great affirmation I just love. I am so happy and grateful now that I treat every fellow brother and sister of mine that I meet as if they're the most important person on earth. And then Mikey also, then I add to it the second time, starting with myself every single morning. And it's not about me, Pappy, saying this. One of the main things that the universe says that we're short on, Mikey, the average human being, is self-love. And a lot of self-love has to do with individuals, our fellow brothers and sisters, not thinking, the lack of self-love has to do with them thinking that they're not special enough. Mikey, all of our listeners are special beyond their wildest comprehension. Every one of our listeners, myself, Mikey, every one of our listeners to the workshop webinar here, to our show, has the greatest gift on earth, and the universe refers to it as creative power. You've been given creative power to manifest anything you can imagine. You have that power. The creator of all, and as I said, I talk about universal intelligence, universal subconscious mind, universal light, source power, source energy. I never defined the creator to you. All of our listeners know who they believe the creator to be. But the creator of all, in the most loving manner you could ever imagine, more love than we can even put a definition on, would never have us here on earth without the ability for us to be successful all by ourselves. The universe, the source power, Mikey, doesn't say, source energy doesn't say, oh, Mikey, once you get $10,000 in your bank account, or once you own a car, your first car, once you buy a house, I'm not being sarcastic, but that would be ridiculous. We, as we are, if we're standing, as I talk about, in a wheat field up to our waist, in a wheat field by ourselves for miles and miles and miles, no other human being within 100 miles of us, standing there, even without a stitch of clothing on us, we have everything we need. We have everything we need in that state to manifest anything we can imagine. So just to mention it again, Mikey, to remind our listeners, they have true universal creative power within them to manifest anything they can imagine. You all are more special than you can ever imagine. And that's what I'm here for, is to get you to remember and teach you and get you back to understanding how powerful you are and how special you are. Now, Mikey, when you started us off with some great thought bubbles here, so to speak, on the concepts to live by. And on the concepts to live by, let's try to look at a couple of them, Mikey. I guess the one that I could go into, Mikey, which is tied into what we're just doing, is your magic lamp. So my next book is going to be focused on your magic lamp. So we've got Mikey's magic lamp, Pappy's magic lamp, all of you in your subconscious mind. Again, if you think of Aladdin's magic lamp, and I just remember when I was a kid, the first time I heard about that, I think we read it in grade school or something. I can't remember. I think it was maybe in third grade, something like that. And I just said, this is the greatest thing on earth. You can have 3 wishes and what you can do with these wishes. And I remember my son getting ready to say, man, what would I wish for? And I get almost real close to say, no, I got something better. But it was so exciting me just thinking about that. So how much more exciting is it, Mikey? Aladdin's lamp was 3 wishes. We as human beings are given unlimited wishes. It's more than our mind could possibly even comprehend. We're given unlimited wishes, and that's what ties into manifest anything you can imagine. There's no limit to this. But B-U-T, the big one, Mikey, is that we have unlimited wishes, both good or bad. If you think and focus on positive, you will draw more positive into your life. If you think and focus on negative, you will draw more negativity into your life. If you think and you're worried about debt and your bills, you're going to get stuck more in that zone. You're going to draw that too. You're not going to be able to get out of there. So focus on what you want, never, or don't focus on what you don't want. So your magic lamp inside of you is the most powerful tool on earth, allowing you in your subconscious mind to manifest anything you can imagine. But you need to, and that's part of our show today, Mikey, tied into in a little bit, where we talk about protecting our subconscious mind. So this would be a great tie-in. So I want to let everyone know that you have unlimited wishes, but the asterisk is both good or bad. You have been given free will and the choice. You want to think about 100 negative things and have negativity drawn towards you, Or would you like to think about 100 positive things and have positive events and elements and objects and everything else attracted to you? So your magic lamp, the most powerful thing in the universe. The other one I talked about, Mikey, was that we sent out on the concepts to live by was I call my daily ritual. I say my daily 5 a.m. ritual. It's just really anyone's ritual. What I found out, Mikey, from teaching and coaching our fellow brothers and sisters is if I talk to them about a concept and try to have them initially get their mind around it, they have a challenge sometimes. So I'll use an example myself. I'll call it my daily ritual. And that's easier for them to like sort of look at me and understand. They can see I've done it and they have more confidence in it. So that's the only reason I associate my name with a number of things in the book. But regarding my Poppy or Pappy's daily 5 a.m. ritual, it really should start whenever you wake up, Mikey, before we have any human interaction with any technology or anything, cell phones, computers, televisions, radio, music, anything, while you're still close to the subconscious mind, when you just come out of twilight, when you first woke up, and you want to stay in that zone as long as you want to, and stretch out that twilight when you're first waking up, because the universal subconscious mind will send ideas to you, will send thoughts to you about what you want, what your questions are, etc. Then as you're waking up and before you get out of bed, Mike, you pick one or two really favorite affirmations. As I said already in today's show, I'm so happy and grateful now that today is a magnificent day. I'm already stating today's a magnificent day. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have painted and created my masterpiece today regarding, I'm thinking about my teammates, my three most important tasks. Maybe it's 4 or 5 that day, but whatever they are, they've gone fantastically well. And then as you're getting up also, then you start to lean into your day. You start to feel your way into your day and you're starting to think about these things. I recommend doing some type of gratitude as soon as you can after you get up. A lot of people there's a lot of our listeners who like to pray. That's a great way to deliver the message. So through prayer, through journaling, writing something out, everybody's mind looks a little bit differently. But what we talk about all the time, Mikey, is anyone that I'm teaching or coaching wants to have a successful day. And when do you have a successful day? You don't start at 1:00 in the afternoon. If I say, win your morning, win your day. If you get up and win your morning and start that positive momentum, you have a phenomenally better chance of success of winning your entire day.
I love that idea of having that magic lamp with all those unlimited wishes. I think that is, you talk about thinking like a child and magical things will happen. I mean, here you are, and you are your only obstacle. So once you change your mindset, you can overcome anything. And I love that. And you're talking about like rituals and repetitions. And I think that every professional athlete also has a ritual in them, before they perform at their games. And you as a person, every morning you wake up and you write down immediately what you're grateful for and what you want to manifest that day. And I think that's so important. And we just have to get past the obstacle of ourselves and overcome ourselves. And when you're trying to make yourself better, you look for a coach, and there's nobody else better than you to help us manifest the law of attraction with some of your manifest coaching tips. And one of them that you have on that you'd like to talk about today would be what do you have in mind for that, for your coaching
Oh, yeah,
technique?
yeah, Mikey. Yeah, whenever you and I were working on the show laying out, regarding canceling and rejecting, and then you mentioned another good one there. You got my mind going that, whenever you're saying that we have the ability and we're our only obstacle, so to speak. And that's, again, one of the top affirmations that I suggest our fellow brothers and sisters consider doing on a regular basis. I am so happy and grateful now that I am my only problem and I am my only solution. So we've got this inside of us, Mikey. We're our only problem and we're our only solution. I'm so happy and grateful now that I know in my heart of hearts that the universe never does anything to me. It only does things for me. The universe, and that's one of my 15 key ingredients, Mikey. Belief is so important. And that's one of the questions, even Albert Einstein was one of his favorite questions. And Albert Einstein would structure it, so to speak, when he would talk to a group and say, a lot of your life success is going to be dependent upon how you answer this following question. And he said, the question is, do you believe that the universe is friendly? Do you believe that the world is stacked in your favor or stacked against you? I'm here to explain for the rest of my life how well it is stacked in your favor. The universe, the creator, source power, source energy, has structured this universe under perfect and infinite universal laws that are in your favor to be able to manifest anything you can imagine. But the challenge is, Mikey, from the big first fork in the road is 90 whatever percent of our fellow brothers and sisters think that they're living in a physical world, like, their body, their meat suit, so to speak, in a physical body within a physical world. But we actually live within a thought world. We're in a thought world within a thought universe. And once we start to understand how powerful our imagination is, how powerful our thoughts are, how powerful our visualization is, how powerful the feelings and emotions that we apply to them are, then we're off to the races, Mikey. So whenever we talked before, Mikey, we were talking about how powerful this is. We've got this magic lamp, and I always think about this like sort of nice, I don't want to say Disney to mention like a brand, like almost in the movies they have. It's like this, just beautiful, shiny gold lamp that's just gorgeous inside of us in our subconscious mind. And we get granted our wishes, Mikey, both good or bad. So what happens is, if you think of the top half again, if you draw that large circle around your head for what is our mind, and a horizontal line through, and put a C up here for conscious mind, and an SC for here, a line going down, and a smaller circle down here for our body, it's those three elements that comprise our mind: our conscious mind, our subconscious mind, and our body. And the number one job, Mikey, if we think of it, it's almost like the vision would give us, like it's like a dome or a lid above our subconscious mind, our conscious mind on top, the top half of that circle. So I want our fellow brothers and sisters on today's workshop webinar on our show today to think of that as your shield. That's what I call it, Mikey. Your conscious mind is your shield. And your shield has no greater job or responsibility than to protect your subconscious mind. So how does your conscious mind protect your subconscious mind? Again, our conscious mind, Mikey, up here with the C is our thinking mind, with the SC down here is our feeling mind, okay? So this is our thinking mind, and we proactively think on information coming towards us. So if you have a conversation, if somebody has a conversation, Mike, with their mom or their dad, with a brother or sister, with a peer, fellow coworker, a family member, whoever it may be, they're hearing music on the radio, they're reading or looking at something on social media, they hear something on the television. I mean, anywhere that information comes into us, these are called, what the universe calls these suggestions. If somebody says, you're born and raised in Mississippi, it's the poorest state in the United States, you're not going to do well in life financially because you were born and raised there. So that's a suggestion that's put out to someone, whoever heard that, and you either accept that or you reject that. So that's what our conscious mind is for, this dome on top, our shield, quote unquote. So we want to reject that, Mikey, and we literally have to reject it. So there's a number of ways that I coach and I teach. If we hear something that is not in our favor, that we don't agree with, is not part of our value system, we say, I cancel that. I reject that. We'll say, I refuse to participate. One of the examples I use all the time, Mikey, in Denuso Private Wealth wealth practice, we've got 4 conference rooms, and one of them we have a TV on all throughout the day on the stock channel, just so it's right there. Anytime we go through, we know where the stock market's at, the bond market, all the global markets and everything else. And Mikey, for 35 years, I've been in this business. I would say that every month, at least once a month, for 35 years, there's some quote unquote expert on the TV saying, we're going into a recession. We're going to be going into a recession. You might or probably going to lose your job, and 1 out of 3 or 1 out of 4 of your friends or whoever you know are going to lose their job with how bad this recession is going to be. Now, if you don't cancel or reject that, that goes into your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind, Mikey, is all knowledge of all time. All of our listeners, all knowledge of all and all power of all time. Whatever we put in there, it takes as gospel and is going to work on making that happen for you, for our fellow brothers and sisters who are listening in today. So if it's something that is a lie, is incorrect, is bad information, not in tune with your values, not in tune with your goals, not in tune with your worldview, you literally need to cancel or reject this. So I'll say cancel or reject. If I'm listening to music in the morning, it doesn't take long, Mike, until you hear like a phrase that's not any music here today and always. I'll just put on like a blanket cancellation, a blanket rejection. Or we could say, like I do when I walk by the TV and they're talking again about we're going to be in a recession. I say, I refuse to participate. whatever that person's talking about, I refuse to participate. One of the other ones that I teach, Mike, is what I call a flip the script affirmation. So I was talking with some folks from Kenya, and I told them, I said, you may have heard at some point in time that because of the country you were born in or because of the color of your skin, that you won't be successful or something negative related to that. I said, when you hear that, you say, I am so happy and grateful now that because I was born in Kenya, I am going to be phenomenally successful. So take whatever that negative comment was and completely flip it around and make it a positive affirmation. So canceling, rejecting, refusing to participate, flipping the script. And then, Mikey, once we start to get in better tune with this universal power that's within us and start to really realize that every one of our fellow brothers and sisters that are listening or looking or hearing us or watching us right now have all power and all knowledge of all time within them to manifest anything they can imagine. Another one I like to start getting our fellow brothers to say is when they're faced with something and they disagree with it, I am never going to give up my heaven on earth. We really have heaven on earth, Mikey. We have been given the ability to manifest anything we can imagine, and don't let any earthly function, something that you see, activity, conversation, anything, don't ever let that take you into a lower vibration. When you're in a lower vibration, you are not going to manifest what you want in life. The only thing that's going to come to you is negativity. But more importantly, it takes you off of your highway on your higher vibration, that you are on that highway to achieving that goal, manifesting what you want and having it in your hand. So it's like at even like a neutral kind of case scenario, you're on this highway going towards this goal, this thing that you've been dreaming about and thinking about that you want very much. And it's at least going to turn the engine off to your car on this highway and just have you sitting there at a standstill, not making any progress. So we want to cancel, reject, refuse to participate, flip the script on whatever someone throws at us, and or just say to ourselves, we can say out loud or even just in our mind, I am never giving up my heaven on earth. Something comes towards us. The only person that can give up our power, Mikey, is us ourselves. It's only us. No one can ever take this from us. You and I and all of our listeners, Mikey, only have one thought in our head at a time, only one thought. And no one tells me, no one tells you, no one controls us, and no one controls any of our fellow brothers and sisters on what that thought is. So be extraordinarily careful when people, places, things, whatever it is, are bringing negative thoughts to you, that you don't let your guard down and allow those in, because your subconscious mind says, you are the boss, you're the ruler, you're the king, you're in charge, and any suggestion that you allow your subconscious mind to hear, it is going to take action on that. I went to, just one last example, Mikey, I went to a non-for-profit event, and it was a beautiful event. I mean, it's just a phenomenally good organization doing so much good in the community. And I went to the event, and it was a presentation, formal presentation was about an hour long. And there was a lot of different people who got up and spoke. And without getting like too much in details, what I would just say is that all of the combined presentations lasted about an hour in length, Mikey. And there were at least one negative suggestion every minute that was offered from the podium. They were negative. They were negative as all get out, as all can be. They were negative. And if you're sitting there and you're not protecting yourself and you're taking that in, you'll never be successful because of this. You're going to have it very hard because of that. You got dealt a bad hand because of this. This is stacked against you. That's against you. This person, this entity, you cannot let that into your subconscious mind, Mikey, without canceling or rejecting that, or else you're telling your subconscious mind, I believe this to be the truth. I want you to act on this. This is a suggestion that I'm allowing being offered to you that I didn't stop. And that's why also, Mikey, we talk about throughout the day, our auto suggestions. That's why they're so powerful. These are suggestions we get to put place in our own mind, which we already did some through our affirmations today on today's show, Mikey. I am so happy and grateful now that I treat every person that I meet as if they're the most important person on earth. So I've told my subconscious mind, Mikey, hey, remind me when we go out, send out those vibrations. Every person I meet, I'm going to treat them as if they're the most important person on earth. That's why it's so powerful to do our auto suggestions, not just to fend off these. Where we really want to be is fending off negativity and generating our own positive goals through our own positive auto suggestions, which are suggestions from ourselves to ourselves.
That's a lot of great coaching tips. Thank you so much. And I love the idea that we already have our heaven here on earth, and we don't have to wait for our reward. And we've already been given that reward. And we have the tools to continue. But what I love too is the idea of your conscious mind being your shield. And what I like to do in the morning is, like, I picture that shield, and inside that shield, I put my affirmations, the auto suggestions, all of these into the shield. And then I step into that shield before I walk outside. So when I'm outside, everything that's negative coming towards me is bouncing off of that shield. It's canceling and rejecting. And instead of, you know, canceling, rejecting, but I'm able to accept and enable all the things that come toward me that are positive in my life. And just having that shield around me makes me feel so much safer, like the universe is friendly towards all of us. And in that shield too are my affirmations. And I think that's so important. Like, your affirmations are in there, your auto suggestions. And so when you are out and about in your day,
You've been looking at the world basically as though you're a physical being in a physical world and approaching it all from that perspective. I said, if you can just consider that you live in a thought world within a thought universe, and how much just trying this out can turn this around for you. So it's just these ideas. The other one, Mikey, for protection that you got me thinking about is, and I'm just leading up to my, I only offer suggestions. That was my sort of segue into this, but about only offering suggestions. I guess I got one more to set the table, Mikey. When universe sends me tons of information, all this information, and there'll be things that come up, and they'll say, "Pappy, it's too complicated to understand. Pappy, you don't have a need to know that." And one of the ones that I see, the image I see over and over, Mikey, about being too complicated to understand is the universe shows me an image of a woman's full length winter coat, and it's up to the neck, long sleeves down to the wrists. The length of it is halfway down between your knees and your ankles. It's a full winter's coat. And what's interesting, it's like a sweater coat. It's like a heavier coat, almost like, Irish. They got like that real dense kind of knitting that they do. So it's like a knitted coat for some reason. That's the image I get. So they show me this entire full length women's coat. And then they show me, Mikey, about this much, one strand of fiber of material. That's what they show me. And they say the same thing every time. Pappy, this one strand of fiber in this entire woman's coat is the maximum amount of knowledge that the average human being is able to understand about the entire universe. This entire universe, Mikey, is more complex than we could ever imagine. Okay. It's run by the creator of all. We as human beings, we don't need to know. We don't get, it's useless. Even if we got information, we would not be able to comprehend the complexity. So that being said, for the next thing I'm going to say, Mikey, what the universe has said numerous times is, because a lot of times human beings will worry about protection or safety, whatever we were just talking about here just a little bit ago, protecting ourselves. And the universe, and the first time that they said, I was like, whoa, okay, that's like really different. But they talk about universal light, which is a form of the God force, being so protective and, I mean, obviously so strong. And the universe says that if you're ever sensitive about yourself or a loved one, then just think of a warm, white, loving light, a warm, white, loving light, and just draw a circle around that individual, around the loved one, son, daughter, mom, dad, brother, sister, whoever it is, partner, loved one, whoever it is. And the universe says that will provide them with protection. And then they added also that a warm pink light, or a light pink or a light blue, would also work. So they say some of those people have, for some reason, a hard time thinking of like a nice, it's got like a glow to it, not a hard line. It's like got a glow to it all the way around, like warm white loving light, or a warm pink loving light, or warm light blue loving light. So take this as far as you want to, Mikey. When you're going on, some folks are nervous about getting on airplanes. You're in the airport looking down on it, put that warm, loving light all around that airplane and ask for protection. Put it around, you're on vacation, you got a rental car, you're going to be driving around all over in an area you're not that familiar with. Look at that rental car, put that light all around that car. I asked, how often do we need to do this? And the answer was periodically. So there was no definition of periodically, but it's not like every day. We don't need to be obsessed about it. But for our loved ones, there's all types of tools and all types. The love for us, Mikey, from the universe and all around us is beyond any comprehension we could possibly have. You can't even be like a little kid and say, multiply by 100 or a million. And like little kids will say, multiply by a gazillion. There's more love for us than even multiplying it by a gazillion. So I just wanted to share that. And again, I'm just a messenger, Mikey. Everything that I do is all about the message. It's not about me. It's all about the message. And I'm just the messenger, and I share as much of my fellow brothers and sisters as I can. And if it makes sense to you, that's wonderful. I just offer suggestions. And I just would ask to really consider these suggestions and how much they can improve and change your life. So, Mike, on the affirmation for today's show, we always start off, I am so happy and grateful now. I am so happy and grateful now that in my burning desire, so my burning desire now is down, our desire, we have imagination thoughts up above our head. If we identify our goal and we want it, our want goes into that top half of that circle, our conscious mind. If we want it bad enough, it comes down to the bottom half of the circle into the bowl, our subconscious mind. And that's where the desire is. So when we want to have a burning desire, we want our goal really, really bad with a lot of emotion. So we say, I'm so happy and grateful now that in my burning desire and wishes to succeed and manifest, I spend my leisure hours contemplating my vision and my goal and remain in earnest appreciation and gratitude as the reality is being given to me. So the keys here, Mikey, is having emotional involvement in our goals, in our wishes and desires. And when the universe talks about contemplating this, when I reached out, Mikey, I said, well, what's reasonable as far as interaction or thinking about things? And the universe said very clearly, it would be reasonable if we did something or thought about something in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once in the evening. So I talk about writing out affirmations 333. If you write out your affirmation, you're thinking about your goal, put emotion into it when you wake up. I am so happy and grateful now that, whatever else that is, and then put the date at the end of it. Every 90 days we want to have that. So I talk about 333 when we write out our affirmations. We do something in the morning, afternoon, evening. And that leads to one other question, making people go, Pappy, how much extra time does this take per day? If you think about what I mentioned earlier, Mikey, is we're taking out bad habits every day, ideally. We're putting in good habits. So net at the end of the day, Mikey, it doesn't take any extra time. We're not staying up like an extra half hour of a night doing our homework. We have replaced bad habits with good habits, and it doesn't take net any extra time to incorporate all this in your life in order for you to be able to manifest anything you can imagine.
That's fabulous. And going back to what you said about that shield of protection as a mom, I love the idea of being able to protect my loved ones as well as myself, especially when I can't be with them. So that's a great idea to do to protect your loved ones. Um, all right. Well, I feel like I've done a lot of talking today. So this is the part of the webinar that I love because our audience questions get to submit some questions to Pappy, and they call this the Ask Pappy, the dating speed manifest dating questions. And if any of the audience members have a question that they would like to submit, they can just go to our website and click on the link at the top that says Ask Pappy. And one of the questions this morning we have is, how do I use positive affirmations?
Yes, thank you so much, Mikey. And again, a lot of these questions too, I put them into the question data bank, so to speak. There's almost not any instance when I talk to one of our fellow brothers and sisters, Mikey, that they don't have at least a handful of questions. And they're great questions when I'm talking to someone face to face and or virtually one-on-one, because we get into like a very personal conversation about themselves and what their goals are and what they're working on. And they're just phenomenal questions. So the first one is one that comes up an awful lot. How do I use positive affirmations? And again, we want our affirmations to be positive. So we were talking about those earlier. That's one of the threads through today's show is, I am so happy and grateful now that. So our affirmations, again, I coach, ideally write those out 3 times in the morning when you wake up, 3 times in the afternoon, and 3 times in the evening, maybe close right before you go to sleep. And I always recommend, Mikey, never give up an opportunity or miss an opportunity to apply visualization and emotion when writing out your affirmation. So it's not like a speed writing test or anything. You can write out your first affirmation, close your eyes, visualize success, visualize that already occurring and coming to you, apply emotion to it, take your time with this, enjoy the process. So writing out your affirmations, when you're doing that, again, this meets that definition of what I talked about earlier, Mikey. These are auto suggestions. When you write out your affirmation, you're saying your affirmation, you're thinking about it, applying feelings, visualization, you are giving yourself auto suggestions. So these are suggestions from yourself to yourself, And these are perfect suggestions, so to speak. This is exactly what you want for your goal, exactly what you want to manifest. So when you write out your affirmation, you want that to be your number one 10x goal. That's your biggest one. On our daily goals or weekly goals, etc., we want to feel our way into our day and use our feelings to achieve those on a daily basis. We're not writing out like tons of different goals. We're just focusing on that one big life-changing 10x goal from what in our health, our wealth, our happiness. And there's a lot of things that are happiness. It could be career, relationships, love, life, family, whatever it is. But what one of those is our number one goal in life that we want to try to 10x our life by doing that. So we write those out. Those are auto suggestions and giving us just great, pure feedback, positive feedback into our subconscious mind. And the next one I see, Mikey, you have is about gratitude. So maybe we'll just do 2 questions today because I went a little bit longer earlier. So just talking about gratitude, Mikey, talking about it, how can I best practice it? How does it work? I carry with me and I show all the time, I've got my Papi Mindset Coach, Vega coin, and universe has had me recently add another letter. So thank goodness, Mikey, it still worked out. It's, oh geez, it just fell down on me. 1 second. So right now it's VEGA for visualize with emotion, your goal and take action. So they're having me add another G to it. So it's VEGGA. So visualize with emotion, your goal in gratitude and take action. So those are really the top. I've got my 15 key ingredients on how to manifest, Mikey, which is, again, one of the number one questions I get asked, Pappy, how do I manifest? What's involved with it? What do I need to do? These 5 are arguably in the top 5. Your visualization, applying emotion of your goal. You're always focused on your goal. You're visualizing. Everything's about your goal, your big 10x goal in gratitude. So what the universe says, Mikey, is there's nothing more important than gratitude. And the universe is not being mean, but just the rules are what the rules are. And I just share those with my fellow brothers and sisters, Mikey, is that we oftentimes in life, our fellow brothers and sisters, and us, of course, we're normal. We're in that group. And we receive wonderful gifts in our life. And it's from the universe. They had their hand involved with that to make us happy, to help us accomplish something. And it's a wonderful thing that came into our life. But if there's no gratitude expressed, we just have to understand how important that is. It's so powerful when we use it, and also how powerful it is we don't utilize it, we don't apply gratitude. So if you don't have gratitude for something wonderful that comes into your life, the universe says, okay, basically, like, you're breaking the rules here. It's not going to come back to you. It doesn't work that way. And it's very simple, Mikey. What does it take? 3 seconds, 5 seconds? I am so grateful. Thank you so much. I am thankful. I'm appreciative. I'm in gratitude. That's all it takes to be able to practice your gratitude. So thinking all throughout the day, and this is like the good habits we talked about earlier, Mikey. Once you start getting in a habit of thinking, like, I am so happy, grateful now, today's a magnificent day, and you're envisioning like every day is like blue skies, sunshine, etc., then you start getting to the point where you're so positive that it's raining and dark and cloudy outside, but you're like, I am so happy, grateful now, today's a magnificent day. And in your mind, it's sun shining, it's blue sky, everything else. That's the thing with gratitude, Mikey. We could give gratitude for everything around us in our room. I mean, how many things we have to be grateful for with technology, the roof over our head, the clothes on our back, the food on our table. If you have, however you get to have transportation, if you have an automobile or whatever your transportation is, I mean, any education, you might have just every single thing in front of you in your home, on your desk, whatever you're doing. There's so much to be grateful for. And the more gratitude we have, it raises our vibration, which raises our frequency. It puts us on that frequency, aligns us with our goal, keeping us on a higher frequency with the universe and keeping that highway wide open for our goal to be delivered to us as fast and easy as possible. So gratitude, I mean, that is just a great habit to get into, Mikey, all throughout the day. You can literally do that on an hourly basis. And it's another thing, Mikey, when you get in good habits, anyone in good habits doesn't say, oh, that's really hard for me to do that, or that's a pain, or that. No, when you get in a good habit, you just do it. It's like, no, that didn't take me any extra time. I expressed gratitude 3 times over the past hour. It wasn't painful. It didn't take me any more time. I didn't have to think about it. Once I make it a habit of mine, and it's a good habit, it just naturally occurs. So just to remind our fellow brothers and sisters how important it is to express gratitude. And there's nothing too small, Mikey, to express gratitude for. It could be looking at a blade of grass outside. It could be looking at a rabbit, at a tree, anything around us. This universe is full of splendor, and it's sort of part of our responsibility to appreciate the splendor that's all around us and give gratitude for it. And that's what allows it to keep on manifesting and moving forward.
I love that. And everyone loves to be thanked and appreciated. I mean, so why wouldn't the universe, right? And
Yes.
that's just um something you can do on a daily basis. And when you thank somebody and you make somebody else feel appreciated, I think it makes yourself feel good. You feel good that you made somebody else feel appreciated. Um, but I know that you have an audiobook. I know that you mentioned that. And I love the idea that you can have the audiobook on when you're in your car. You can listen to it in the background. You can use it when you're running, taking a walk. But I know that you also have your Manifest Anything You Can Imagine book that I love to have. And I used to, what I do is when I write my daily affirmations down, my gratitude journal, I could just reach over, grab the book, open it up, and each chapter begins with a quote. So even if you don't have a lot of time to read your book, you can look at these quotes either from famous people or from you. And I know every day you like to look at this. Are you going to talk about a quote today that you have from your book, Manifest Anything You Can Imagine?
Yes, Mike, it's staying in with one of our themes for today's show. The quote I have is from chapter 7 in my book, from myself. The law of gratitude is a universal law. And again, remember these universal laws, Mikey. This universe runs in the fairest manner possible, like the largest, most beautiful, elegant Swiss watch that we could possibly imagine. So we have the law of energy and all the rules regarding energy, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, the rules around energy. All energy was created. Energy is not created nor destroyed. It moves into form, through form, and out of form. The law of vibration, the law of attraction, there is a law of gratitude, the law of cause and effect, also referred to as the law of karma. So the law of divine oneness. So all these universal laws and law of gratitude is right up there. So the law of gratitude is a universal law and includes in part that action and reaction are always equal. So think about this, Mikey. We were talking a little bit ago. The more genuine and humble and intense and full of emotion your gratitude is, if you send out 5 pounds of gratitude, Mikey, you'll get 5 pounds of wonderful stuff coming back. You send out 10 pounds, you'll get 10 pounds coming back. Why not send out 100? You know what I mean, Mikey? Be very genuine, very sincere. We're always humble and direct and put a lot of emotion into it. The more gratitude, and that's one of the rules of the universe, is that action and reaction, these are always equal. One of the top universal laws, again, I didn't mention a second ago, is as above, so below. So we think what we send comes back to us. It's sort of like, I think, a gratitude be more horizontal, like what we send out is what comes back to us. So that action and reaction are always equal and in opposite directions. So what we send out comes back to us. In other words, the gratitude you give to universal intelligence is returned equally to you. Be continuously grateful that not only does universal intelligence know your name, but also truly loves you and emotion desires for you to co-create. So it's this co-creation, Mikey. Belief in the universe on one side. With that Albert Einstein question, do you believe the universe is friendly? Yes, there's all kind of resources and love and everything here for me. That's the belief system tied into my faith here, that I believe I do have this creative power within me. And that's where we co-create with the universe, where we get back in harmony with the universe, that we emotionally desires for us to co-create with it and live our best life every single day. So what could be more exciting to think about? Like, we have all this ability inside of us. The universe is ready, willing, and able and designed to be the glove to our hand. And for us to join with this, it's like a partnership. We're in a partnership with the universe. It's almost like a lifelong dance, Mikey, that we're reciprocating a dance, the gratitude back and forth, the give and take, the love that's shared, etc. And we have this ability to co-create with universal intelligence to manifest anything we can imagine.
Wow, what a great quote to end with. Just to think about unlimited gratitude and unlimited wishes. I mean, we really do truly live in a bountiful and friendly universe. So thank you for that.
Like,
We learned so much today in the time that we got to spend together. And I really want to let you know that I enjoyed it, and hopefully our audience enjoyed it as much as I did. And if you're new to Pappy Mindset Coach, be sure you're signed up on pappymindsetcoach.com to receive Pappy's free educational emails and get access to upcoming live events conducted by Pappy to help you manifest the health, wealth, happiness, love, life, and success that you desire.
That's a wrap for this episode of Manifest Anything You Can Imagine podcast. Keep those dreams big and your mindset unstoppable. Take one step today toward the life you're manifesting, because you can create anything you imagine. If you can think it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Visit pappymindsetcoach.com for more resources and follow us at Pappy Mindset Coach on social platforms for daily inspiration. If you love this episode, share it with someone ready to transform their life. Until next time, stay focused, stay positive, and keep on manifesting your best life. See you soon.